didn't know it was going to thaw. If I'd known it was going to thaw, I'd have done something different. See, until you've done something like this, you don't know all the little details that you need to plan things. You don't know everything that could go wrong. You know what I mean? You need to understand this. It's important to me that you understand this, that it's really, really hard to get all the details right.
Why don't you just tell me what happened from the beginning? Do you need some coffee? Water?
No, it's fine. From the beginning? From the very beginning? I don't think I want to do that.
Why not?
It just goes back to everything. It goes back to the start of our marriage. It goes back to what I thought she wanted and what it turns out she wanted. I mean, they tell you what they want, women. They go to these great lengths to talk about communication and getting along with your partner, and that's all fine so long as you're giving them what they want.
What happened when you couldn't give her what she wanted?
Yeah, it's the problem. See, it was the weather.
The weather?
Yeah. The weather got warmer than I thought it would. You know how it is in wintertime when the snow falls and the city goes around and they scoop it up and they move it off the streets? You see, the thing is, you can go 200 miles south of here and they can pretty much move it off to the curb and it'll melt eventually. But this far north, you can't do that. Once it falls past November, it's like sand, you know? It's got to be moved. And that's what the city crews do. They move the snow. I mean, we only get a good snow every couple of weeks, but the snow that falls doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't melt. And you can't just leave it there. It'll pile up on the side of the road. The piles would grow too big. So they move it to intermediate places, like the school parking lot that's across the street from my house. And you know, if we go long enough time without a snowstorm, they'll come in with big earth-moving equipment, backhoes and dump trucks and stuff, and they'll take the snow, and they'll move it to a field outside of town. It's a field that's not used for anything else, right? The snow just goes there, and when the snow melts, it's just a bunch of junk, just the sand and the garbage that got picked up along with the snow the previous winter. That's where I thought she'd be, you know? I thought she'd be out there in the snow field, but budget cuts, I guess. I guess they don't move the snow late in the year. They figure it's going to melt soon anyway, so they just leave it there where it is. You know, it's about courage. It's about being decisive. Rebecca was right about that. She always said I wasn't decisive enough.
Why don't you do something?
Decisive enough. Not enough for her, anyway. I never was.
Why don't you do something? Huh? Answer me.
What do you want?
I want to know what you've done all day.
I made dinner.
Yeah, I can see that. The frozen pizza box is still on the counter. Careful it don't burn.
I got a timer on.
Yeah, on the watch I gave you. Seriously, it's been that computer all day, hasn't it?
I'm looking for work.
Yeah, well, the things you're looking at, I don't think they pay you for.
What's that supposed to mean?
Don't talk back. I've been at the shop all day. I'm tired. You buy any wine?
We don't have the money.
Oh, yeah? What about the beer in here?
That's when Paul came over last night. He left it.
Well, I'm having one.
Help yourself.
Seriously, though, you could find a job. Maybe we'd get out of this dump.
This is my house. I grew up here.
Oh, you grew up? Come on, Derek. It's a joke.
It's one of your jokes. That's why I'm not laughing. Ow!
Oh, oops. It slipped.
You hit me with a bottle.
Oh, buck up, you wuss.
What's wrong with you?
Just shut up.
Rebecca, I'm bleeding.
I said shut up about it. Baby can't take more of a shot than that. It's no wonder we don't... Here.
What is that?
What does it look like? It's for your head. Quick, before you bleed to death.
Rebecca, that's one of your pads.
So? This is kind of what it's made for, right?
So is that why you killed her?
No. No, see, I gotta tell this. I gotta tell this like it happened. It's got to be told the right way because you guys have to understand something. I'm not dumb. I'm not. I mean, she called me that sometimes, but that was just because she was mad, not because she really thought it. She called me dumb because I had made some bad decisions, but they weren't dumb decisions. Do you understand what I'm saying? They weren't what she wanted. She wanted to sit around the house and have me provide for her. And then when she found out that I...
Found out that you what? No, really. What is it?
Never mind. Well, you know, she always wanted a family, and I've got this condition. We couldn't have kids.
Yeah, I understand. Go on.
See, that was the thing I couldn't handle. If she wanted to call me dumb, that was fine. If she wanted to say I was worthless, that was fine. We had like a system worked up where I had my room and she had her room, and we kind of stayed away from each other. She'd, make meals, and I'd do odd jobs around the house, and some days I'd make meals when she had to work late, and it was kind of like a truce. And I knew that part of the truce was that she got to call me dumb and stupid.
You don't like being called stupid?
No. Because the thing is, stupid is a hard word. It just kind of sits there like it's made out of concrete. You can't move it. And it's not accurate. It's not true, You ever notice how when you care about someone and they do stupid things, they're distracted or they're having a bad day or something like that? But if you don't care about them, then they're just stupid.
Did she call you stupid?
Thousands of times. You want to know why I did it? I'll tell you why I did it. And it wasn't because she called me stupid. I did it because of the snow. See, she didn't like going out in the wintertime. She didn't like going to the store. She just liked to put her feet up at the end of the day. She'd been getting kind of fat, frankly. She works at a grocery store, deli. She ate lunch there every day, and then she started bringing home the chicken and stuff for dinner. So I figure she's eating 2-3 meals a day there, and you can't do that and just sit around all the time without, your ass growing till it's 2 chairs wide. So she didn't like going out in the wintertime. I didn't mind it so much when it was clear and bright and warm outside, summer. But when it wasn't, when it was just the two of us, that little house, that little tiny place, my mom gave it to me in her will, Rebecca never wanted to stay there because of that. She kept talking about getting our own place, and I knew what she meant. She meant we should go spend money that we didn't have on a lot somewhere near the lake, and then build a huge house. And it's... Why do we need such a big house, I'd say? Then the way she looked at me, it was so... It made me feel small. And I could handle it when it was summer, like I was saying, because I could go out, could go for a bike ride. I got one of those recumbent bikes, garage sale, $100. Oh, that pissed her off. $100 at a garage sale for anything. But it's good exercise, and you can go anywhere and not even get tired on that thing. You can go places in the summer, but in the wintertime,
You felt trapped?
I guess it's just so hard to put up with her all that time.
So you decided not to put up with her?
Decided? It wasn't like that. It wasn't like I decided. Because I'd always been, thinking about it. We got married when I was only 20 and she was only 19. We were kids. Both of us.
Honey pie?
I hate it when she called me that.
Hon, are you in here?
Yeah. Right here, Becca.
Oh, there you are. You got home early.
Yeah. We finished early and it was Friday, so John just...
That's nice. Spaghetti okay?
Sure, whatever.
I was thinking, you want to do something tonight?
Sure, like what?
Oh, I don't know. A movie?
I guess. What's playing?
I don't even know. Since you're online, could you check?
Maybe we shouldn't.
Why? Honey? Why?
It's nothing. Let's go to the movies.
No, really. What's wrong?
Promise me you won't be mad.
Well, what is it?
John had to let me go. It's just going to be seasonal. When he starts getting more orders next spring, he's going to call me.
And what are we supposed to do until then?
We have some savings.
Christmas is coming up.
I was thinking maybe your parents?
Spaghetti.
You know, this isn't my fault.
Well, it's not my fault.
You could... What do you want me to do?
Why didn't you go back to school?
We agreed that we'd wait a couple years.
You agreed. You didn't want to go to school. You didn't want to do the work.
I wanted to go to school.
You wanted to live in your mom's little house and work at that stupid plant. And what was I supposed to do? Push out a few puppies?
Well, isn't that...
I don't care. I just don't. I gotta cook. Dinner in, 20 minutes.
So what happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened.
You got laid off?
Yeah, well, that happened. She got a job. Things got worse.
And eventually...
Yeah.
You started to think about killing her.
It snowed in March. See, that was the thing that always got to me. Because I knew that I could do it. I thought about it. I even dreamed about it a couple times. I knew that I could do it. It was just like, what do you do with the body, right? I mean, after you do it, you got to get rid of this thing. And I didn't think... I mean, you hear stories about people cutting up the body and putting it in garbage bags or some ridiculously messy thing like that. I couldn't do that. But the snow and the city crews that moved it, I thought that could be a really good way to do this. But see, what happened was they didn't take away the snow. I thought it was going to be pretty simple. I thought she'd be in the snowbank and they'd scoop her up. Now, that part was going to be pretty iffy. I was sure when they moved that pile, they'd do it early in the morning. And the sun doesn't even come up until 9, so it'd still be dark. And there's already a lot of junk in the snow, leaves and garbage, so maybe they wouldn't even notice. Especially if I had her in a couple of plastic bags. And when they move her out to the field, and then maybe no one would notice. I didn't think anyone ever walked around that field after they dumped all the snow. Probably no one would notice until next fall when they started moving snow out there again. And by then, would there be anything left? Just a couple plastic bags.
What happens after her mom comes looking for her?
You think I'm dumb? And I'm not dumb!
I didn't say you were dumb.
I'm not. She said it. She said it one too many times. One too many times. You know, when I finally did it, it wasn't even difficult. I mean, I was watching on TV about this thing about World War II, this documentary, and only 20% of U.S. soldiers actually fired their weapons at the enemy. Can you believe that? Friggin' Nazis and Auschwitz and everything, and they couldn't even fire their guns at them because it is so incredibly ingrained. Don't kill another human being. I mean, you're a cop. You ever shot anybody?
No.
You ever draw your gun and held it on somebody and been ready to shoot? How weird, didn't it? Well, here's my theory about that with me and Rebecca. It didn't feel weird because she wasn't a person anymore. She was the walking mouth. She used to just walk around the house talking about what an idiot I was and how worthless I was.
Can't believe I'm going to be living in this stupid little house.
Well, I could do one thing right.
Stupid little
one
town.
thing. You know what you do?
Stupid little man.
You take a really good, solid plastic
I
bag.
can't believe.
And when she's not looking,
I had
you slip it
potential.
over her head.
I could have been
And then, here's the genius part. Then you hit her over the head hard. No time for weakness. You got to swing with everything. In my case, it was this old bookend she'd bought, one of those craft fairs. The whole thing was made of metal, and it never got any blood on it because of the plastic bag, right? And you didn't even need to hit her hard enough to kill her because the plastic bag is already over her head, and she's already unconscious. So you just have to get the plastic bag down around her neck, and then you got to shut it down tight and hold it there until she's not breathing anymore.
Is that what you did, Bede?
The hard part was getting her out into the snowbank. I hadn't really thought about that, If it were summertime, I could have used a wheelbarrow. I could have used a chair. I started with an office chair. Just put her in the office chair. That's how I got her to the door. That was really easy. But then there were steps. And we don't have a walk. We have these stupid stepping stones. I thought about maybe getting a sled. But then I thought, no, the sled will leave sled tracks. So I ended up dragging her. And after I dragged her, I had to go back over it and rough up the places where I dragged her. And when I got to the snowbank, I couldn't just throw her on top. So I had to dig. And after I dug deep down, I had to make that look like it had been before. All of this, right? And I'm living right there on 3rd Street. Even if it's 2 a.m, there's a car coming every couple of minutes. I had to hide every time. You know how hard it was? And here she was always telling me I never worked hard at anything. Does that make sense to you? Does it?
No, it doesn't.
It was just a perfect plan. Except for the weather. The weather was supposed to stay cold. And the city was supposed to come around and move the snow. And they didn't. And we started to warm up again. And those 2 garbage bags taped together, they were sitting at the bottom of that snowbank. And I watched for a week or 2. And I watched that snowbank get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I just kept watching. And then I realized they weren't going to move the snow because the snow's going away by itself. I mean, that's not fair, is it? I mean, you work for the city. You should do your job. You do your job. You catch criminals. I'm a criminal. You caught me, right?
No, Bede, you confessed. You came in and told us everything.
That's right. See, it's the dripping. Because while I was watching the snowbank get smaller, all the snow from the roof on our house was dripping off. We had ice dams, and they were forming up. You couldn't go outside without hearing it. I mean, I could avoid looking at the snowbank across the street where she was, but I couldn't. It's the dripping, you know? The dripping. Most people, they hate winter. I hate spring. I hate it, I really do.
Okay, Bede. I think you should go back to your room now.
The dripping. It's like that, what do they call it? Chinese water torture.
I understand.
It's the dripping.
I understand.
Well?
You heard, of course?
Yes. I think acquisition is complete. Every detail of the Foundation story is there, and he's adding to it. We never told him that stuff about the plastic bag. He came up with it all on his own.
Do you really think he'll be of any use to us?
Field tests? It's the only way to know for sure. You're concerned?
No.
Listen, I know we're still technically in the service, but when you get attached to this unit, it's not like the service. You can tell me things. It's vital for the project that you do.
My concerns are ethical.
That's normal.
We find this guy, this schizophrenic from Minnesota who's never hurt anyone, and we convince him that he's killed his wife. Why?
You heard it from him. It's difficult to train someone to take a life. Infantry, we can train to acquire targets and execute without thinking. Muscle memory exercises like playing a video game. But for Black Ops, we need someone who can get close, who can work quiet.
Like putting a bag over a mom's head and hitting him with a bookend?
That was exciting. Improvisation. He's already thinking of interesting ways. He's moving beyond what we suggested, filling in details.
Still, we're trusting important missions in the hands of nutcases.
I prefer to think of them as having a useful predisposition, and they are very trainable.
And expendable.
As you say, your difficulty is ethics.
I'll work on it.
See that you do. The next one is in room 327.
Tina. The teen with the drug problem who still thinks there are monsters under the bed.
I have big hopes for this one.
You've been listening to Meltdown, written and directed by Jeffrey Adams. The cast featured Jim Yunt as the cop. Jeffrey Adams was Bede. And Karen Schickel played Rebecca and the Doctor. This program copyright 2010 by the Icebox Radio Theater, which is solely responsible for its content. On the web at iceboxradio.org.